Hello! In just a few minutes, I will be watching a bunch of unavailable movies for the next 12 or so hours. Movies like this, The Brave, starring and directed by Johnny Depp and Marlon Brando, who didn't direct it, but he's in it. The only movie Johnny Depp ever directed, and it's unavailable to purchase in the US. This is a Dutch-German Blu-ray that I own. So it is currently 2:30. My hair is wet because I just showered. I just shower because I just woke up? Maybe, but that's beside the point. Our first movie is Nothing Lasts Forever, which is a movie from 1984, written and directed by Tom Schiller of Saturday Night Live fame, starring a whole bunch of other Saturday Night Live actors like Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd, as well as Gremlins actor Zach Galligan. It has a whole bunch of really good actors in it, but it's been banned from release since 1984, and that's our first movie. So let's get started.
Try to keep away from conceptual art. Next!
So that was Nothing Lasts Forever, a movie I really liked, actually. It was very enjoyable, it's surreal, it's odd. It's a really weird movie about a man who wants to be an artist, and the way he becomes an artist is through a cult of homeless people who control the world, and they give him the power to play the piano once he proves that he can fall in love with the moon person. Spoilers. It's a great movie, actually. I really enjoyed it. It's a tight screenplay. It's pretty fun. A lot of great performances. Bill Murray's hilarious. It's a good movie. I'm sad that it's not going to get a release anytime soon. It still plays on air in Europe TV sometimes, so if you're in Europe and you can catch this, I would definitely recommend it, but if you live in the US, you're out of luck unless you buy a bootleg like I did, so, or find it on YouTube randomly. Sometimes it shows up on YouTube, which brings us to the next movie, which is on YouTube currently. It's also 4:15 now. Cocksucker Blues, which is a documentary about the Rolling Stones, which has been banned from release by the Rolling Stones. Well, that was Cocksucker Blues, a Rolling Stones documentary. I can see why they didn't want this readily available. It doesn't exactly paint them in the best light, but also, this is a documentary about the Rolling Stones, a rock star group in the 70s. It's not surprising that they were banging girls on their tour bus and doing drugs. Like, it's the 70s. I expected this. I don't know what I'm supposed to get out of this, really, other than, whoa, look at these guys. They're real, sort of. I found it intensely dull, to be honest. I did not enjoy this movie. I'll never watch it again, and honestly, I might never think about it again. I really disliked it. It's just kind of bland. They go to a concert, then they don't, then they kind of talk to each other and bang some girls, and then they go to a concert for 90 minutes. It's not my thing. But next up is the infamous Roger Corman Fantastic Four. It's almost 6 p.m., 5:45 right now, so we're gonna keep going. We got plenty of time. Plenty of time. We can just keep rolling with these unreleased movies. Roger Corman Fantastic Four, here we come. It's not even 6 o'clock yet, and my bed already looks like a war crime happened. It's gonna be a long day. We'll see how this Roger Corman movie is. So far, not too bad. So that was Roger Corman's Fantastic Four. It's 7:20 now. That was an okay movie. No, it wasn't. It's very bad. I mean, this movie was made for like $1 million. It's incredibly cheap. It was never intended to be released, but it came out on a bootleg VHS, and now it's here. It's a pretty bad movie, but for what it is, it does try. They do try. The actors give it their all, at least as much as they can. So it's a weird one, because it's not good, and I can see why something like this never got released. But compared to other straight-to-video movies, this isn't that bad. But it's worth a watch, I'd say. It's a piece of history. Watch a movie that was never intended to be released, and everyone involved didn't know that. So they gave it their all. Very weird. Next up is... So that was Frat House. It's almost 9, 8:50. We got a couple more to do. I expected them to be longer than they are, but almost all of them are sub 90 minutes. But Frat House was pretty good, pretty great. I really enjoyed it. It's questionable whether it's true or not, seeing as the reason it got permanently shelved was because the subjects in question claim that Todd Phillips staged some of this movie, especially the second half. Apparently people were paid out to reenact the hazing rituals of the frat houses that he was trying to uncover. But it was pretty good, even if it is faked. It's a pretty good little movie. If it's just a drama, it's a fun drama that works pretty well. Seeing the hazing rituals was entertaining. Todd Phillips is weird. But this is a solid little documentary. The first half rings way more true than the second half, but I liked it. It's on YouTube, so if you want to watch it, you can go check it out. Next up is An Unlawful Killing, which is banned in the UK, seeing as it's a documentary about the death of Princess Diana, and the royal family has done everything in their power to see that this movie doesn't come out. So let's watch it. Okay, before we watch The Unlawful Killing, I got an absolute hankering for some ice cream. So let's go get ice cream, baby! It's 10:45, and we just finished Unlawful Killing, the documentary about the late Princess Diana and the questionable circumstances surrounding her death in a car accident that ended up killing her, her lover, the driver, and the bodyguard, I believe. It's all about that. It's an interesting enough documentary. This is information that is all public knowledge, but personally, I've never really dove into it, never really heard about this conspiracy theory of that she was murdered, which, based on the evidence shown, based on a whole bunch of other things, seems less like a conspiracy, but it is a conspiracy, technically. It's an interesting enough documentary because of that information, but it's also a train wreck. The whole thing is one of the worst films in terms of structure and in terms of quality of all of these I've seen. The structure is terrible. It makes no sense. There's no escalation to anything. It's just, here's this information, here's a piece of this interview. Oh, Prince Philip was connected to the Nazis. Okay, back to the car accident. Okay, here's what the jury said. Okay, this is what the coroner said. It's just like all over the place. The whole documentary is just like, oh, we're over here, we're over here, we're over here, we're over here. I'm talking to this guy, I'm talking to this guy. Oh, now it's over here, now it's over here. It's a mess. It's a huge mess. It's like watching a train wreck. You can't look away. But the information is interesting. If conspiratorial or not, that's up to the viewer to decide. So next up, and finally, we get to The Brave, the only feature film directed by Johnny Depp. Hopefully this works. I've not tested this. It's still in its packaging. Okay, moment of truth. I just inserted the disc into my Slay Station. It's reading. We're in, boys.
Well, it's a kind of refinement. You see, there's pain when we come into the world at birth. So it's fitting that there should be pain at the end of it. It's a sort of transfiguration, a completion of an equation.
Well, that was The Brave. It's 1:15 in the morning. I still have energy, but I don't have any other banned movies to watch. So that's gonna be it. This was the one I was holding out hope for. It's the only one on Blu-ray. It's the only one that is available in some senses. So I was holding out hope that it would be a banger, like a really solid, somber movie. I mean, the premise alone is enough to let someone raise an eyebrow. It's about a guy who decides to get paid to be in a snuff film. I mean, that's a crazy premise on its own, so obviously you are interested just based on that. But problem is, it's intensely dull. Aside from that being like a looming thing over the whole movie, over the main character's actions, every scene just feels like it goes on far too long. It's a really meandering movie. There is a difference between slow and intentional and just boring, and this is unfortunately just boring. There are a handful of really good scenes. Marlon Brando has a pretty good scene. There's a pretty good scene with a priest. There's some good stuff in this, but it does feel like it needs to be trimmed. Quite a few scenes go on way too long, like I said, and some of the structure feels a little bit out of whack. The first act, you don't really know who anybody is or what's going on. Things just happen. Characters pop in and out. You don't know really what relationship anybody has. It just kind of is a cluster of a movie. And because of that, it just ends up being really bland and dull. Every shot is just like this. Wide and character in the center of the frame. Wide and character in the center of the frame. But if they change it up and someone's over on like at the side, then they're like this for some reason. Why frame it like this? I don't know. It's very strange. So, pretty unfortunate, pretty big letdown to end the night here. But it's gotta be that way. See you later.